Welcome to San Mames, the hell that awaited Manchester United. That's how Athletic Bilbao framed it before the match, boldly declaring that the Red Devils were walking into a furnace. But they were wrong, because Manchester United are devils, and devils do not fear hell. This was more than a win. This was a night of belief, of resurrection, a night when Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, and yes, Harry Maguire, stepped up as the architects of destiny. More than just the scoreline, United reclaimed something they had lost for months: control of their own fate. United entered the match under siege. San Mames isn't just a stadium, it's a cauldron, a pressure cooker of sound and fury, where the chant of "Athletic" echoes like waves crashing against the will of the visiting team. Within the opening 10 minutes, it felt like United were drowning in the intensity. Ernesto Valverde's men pressed with Premier League-level aggression. Nico Williams was relentless down the left flank, while Marouane Sanadi clashed fearlessly with United's back three. In the first 20 minutes alone, Bilbao fired off 5 shots, 2 of which forced saves from Onana, and Lindelof even had to clear one off the line. It wasn't pretty, but United held. They didn't force the game, didn't panic. They sat deep, played like a team fully aware of the hostile territory they were in. Manuel Ugarte had a forgettable first half hour, losing the ball dangerously more than once, but Casemiro's composure and Onana's reflexes kept them afloat. Even Dorgu, rattled early on by Iñaki Williams, managed to regain his footing. That psychological resilience, refusing to be swept into Bilbao's chaos, laid the groundwork for a turning point. And just when it seemed like United were suffocating, they struck. The first punch, elegant, unexpected, silenced even the most fervent Bilbao fans. No one expected Harry Maguire to be the catalyst. In the 30th minute, from what looked like a routine move, the 31-year-old centre-back shifted the ball wide right, and then danced. A samba-like sequence, a touch, a feint, a cut inside, then back out again, wrong-footing Yuri Berčić before swinging in a pinpoint cross. Ugarte met it at the near post with a smart flick-on header, and Casemiro, perfectly positioned at the back post, finished with a subtle nod. No power, just placement. The net rippled. The stadium gasped. But the goal wasn't about Casemiro. It was about Maguire. The same Maguire who was booed even during preseason tours. Now, he's rewriting his story. After the assist, he didn't celebrate wildly. He simply turned and jogged back, as if to say, "This is what I do now." A small gesture, but it spoke volumes. A player reborn, unburdened by past scars. From that moment, the game shifted. 7 minutes later, it fell apart completely for Bilbao, in a way they never saw coming. A lapse in focus, a quick counter, and the dreaded call from VAR. In the 36th minute, a swift counter-attack saw the ball move from Garnacho to Mazraoui on the right. The Moroccan drilled in a low cross. Hojlund surged into position, only to be dragged down by Daniel Vivian from behind. Initially, the referee let play continue, but then came the VAR signal. He went to the monitor. Seconds later, chaos. A penalty for United, a straight red for Vivian. Now, let's be clear, this wasn't a reckless foul. You could argue whether Hojlund had a clear chance to score, but by the rulebook, pulling a player from behind to deny a goal-scoring opportunity leaves no gray area. Bilbao's players surrounded the referee. The whistles from the stands reached fever pitch, but nothing changed. Bruno Fernandes stood over the penalty, alone in a sea of whistles and boos. Over 50,000 voices tried to rattle him, but his face was calm, unreadable. A familiar stutter step run-up, and the ball was in the back of the net. San Mames fell silent. 2-0, and it was about to get worse for the hosts. Reduced to 10 men, Bilbao hadn't even begun to reorganize when United landed the third blow. Just before halftime, in the 45th minute, it was high pressing that triggered the moment. Ugarte, who had struggled early, redeemed himself with a subtle backheel into the path of Bruno, bursting forward. One touch, one look, one finish. A composed curler into the far corner. 2 goals in 10 minutes. Athletic's hope had been crushed under the weight of United's ruthlessness. With a 3-goal cushion and a man advantage, most teams would get greedy, pushing for more, risking chaos. But not this United. Not under Ruben Amorim. Instead of chasing, they controlled. The tempo slowed. The ball was passed methodically in midfield. The aim now wasn't to humiliate. It was to exhaust, to drain every ounce of resistance Bilbao had left. By full time, United had 70% possession, most of it in the second half, which resembled a training session. Bilbao had just 5 touches inside United's box after halftime. Every time Nico Williams or Iñaki Williams tried to ignite something, they ran into a wall, usually named Maguire or Euro. With the game in hand, Amorim rotated his squad. Amad Diallo made his long-awaited return, replacing Garnacho. The bigger victory? United left San Mames with no injuries, no errors, no setbacks. This wasn't just a system win, it was a showcase of individuals rising to the moment. Casemiro, written off by some as too old for the Premier League, looked reborn in the Europa League. He opened the scoring, struck the post with a header, and dominated midfield with quiet authority. At San Mames, he looked like a man reliving his Real Madrid legacy, subtle but unstoppable. Bruno Fernandes now has 29 goal contributions in 31 Europa League knockout games. That's not just consistency, that's leadership. One moment of calm from the spot, another of ruthless execution on the break. But more than the goals, Bruno was the heartbeat, dictating tempo, directing traffic, leading by example. Then there's Harry Maguire, the unexpected standout. His step-overs, his delivery, his poise, none of it accidental. It was the product of hard work, humility, and resilience. His future at United may be uncertain, but his response has been loud, through action, not words. Rasmus Hojlund didn't score, but he was vital. His burst of pace earned the red card that changed the game. He still lacks polish in some final touches, but his impact was undeniable, a promising sign amid a turbulent run of form. The return of Amad Diallo and Matthijs de Ligt added another layer of optimism. Amad was sharp and fluid in his cameo. De Ligt, pure security. A wall at the back, just as expected. Meanwhile, Tottenham's 3-1 win over Bodo Glimt, back in England, has opened the door to a historic possibility. If 2 English clubs reach the Europa League final and one of them wins, England could secure 6 spots in next season's Champions League, a feat never achieved before. But that's a story for another day. Tonight belonged to United. The 3-0 win at San Mames wasn't just a step toward the Europa League final. It was a declaration, a reminder that this season, which once looked beyond saving, still has chapters left to be written. Yes, there's still the second leg. Yes, Tottenham may await. Yes, the Premier League remains a storm of its own. But for now, the lights are flickering back on at Old Trafford. Not because of miracles, but because the players many had written off are finally writing their own redemption. Europa League won't erase the chaos of the season, but if United were to begin their rebirth somewhere, this night in Bilbao might just be the perfect origin story. A night not just to celebrate, but to believe again. Because sometimes the most unforgettable seasons are born from the nights no one expected anything at all.